It's really rough. Try to stay to myself, stay away from all the drugs. Try to stay clean out here. I don't know. It's really hard.
It's really hard to stay clean homeless.
Yeah, it's very hard to stay clean out here.
What would trouble you more, passing a tent city on your morning commute, or knowing that every tent hides a story that didn't start on the streets? What if the most shocking part of this crisis isn't the people sleeping outside, but how silently their lives unraveled while the rest of the world kept moving?
You'll see point-in-time reports that will talk about there's only 26% of the people that are on the street that are addicted to drugs. I've heard 41%. But look, I'll be honest with you, I was out there on the street. It's about 80%, 85% of the people that are out there struggling with addiction or untreated mental illness or both.
When a sidewalk replaces a bed, a city that sleeps, and a people who cannot. Imagine placing your body on a bare sidewalk in a city known globally for its wealth, technology, and opportunity. You settle onto the concrete not because it's comfortable, not because it's safe, but because it's the only place left where you can stop moving. Your backpack becomes your pillow. Your shoes stay on because you cannot risk losing them. The city continues around you. Cars glide past without noticing you. Streetlights hum above your head, and office buildings glow with after-hours productivity. People walk by, heading home, unaware that the ground beneath your shoulder is your only shelter tonight. This experience is not rare. In San Francisco, thousands of people repeat this routine each night. It is not chaos. It is not a sudden emergency. It is a quiet system of survival that has become so normalized that it blends into the city's rhythm. The sidewalk's hardness is familiar. The noise becomes background. The real challenge is the inability to rest. Sleep for unhoused people is not peaceful. It is interrupted, shallow, and uncertain. You remain half-conscious, listening for danger, footsteps, or anything unexpected. People often imagine homelessness as an extreme condition, but on the street, it is defined by the ordinary, finding a safe place to lie down, protecting a bag of belongings, deciding which corner feels less threatening. The indignity is not dramatic, it is constant. Basic actions like using a restroom, washing your face, or sitting without being moved along become complicated negotiations. And beneath the routine lies something deeper, the slow erosion of a person's sense of normalcy. Not being indoors for weeks or months gradually changes how you think, how you plan, how you trust. A person who once had a schedule, responsibilities, and a social circle now organizes their life around shadows, sidewalks, and public spaces. This chapter is not about shock, it is about recognition. It is about understanding that homelessness is not defined by tents or tragedy, but by the everyday struggle to maintain dignity while living in public view. Every night on the sidewalk raises a question not only about individual lives, but about the society surrounding them. If the sidewalk has become a bed for so many, what broke before nightfall that pushed someone to lie down on the concrete of one of America's richest cities? If this chapter made you think about homelessness, share your thoughts in the comments below. The city of mirrored realities, wealth above, survival below. San Francisco is known worldwide as a hub of innovation. Tech campuses stretch across the region. Venture capital flows through downtown offices. Coffee shops buzz with startup pitches, product launches, and discussions about the future. The wealth is not hidden. It is visible in the skyline, the architecture, the luxury towers that rise above the city like monuments to possibility. Yet, at street level, a very different reality unfolds in full view. People gather their belongings into plastic bags, rest on bus benches for a moment of stillness, or stand quietly outside storefronts, hoping not to be noticed. The city's two realities do not exist in separate neighborhoods. They exist in the same spaces, sometimes just a few feet apart. A corporate shuttle pulls up while someone nearby searches for a place to sit without being asked to move. A family takes a picture of a cable car while a man tries to find a safe corner to store his things for the night. The contrast is striking, but what makes it unsettling is how normalized it has become. Residents walk past encampments while discussing property values. Tourists step around people resting on the sidewalk while trying to capture scenic photographs. The city functions at two speeds, one defined by opportunity and upward movement, and the other defined by survival and stagnation. This is not a moral failing of individuals, it is the result of decades of inequality layered upon the city's geography. High-income workers live in modern apartments with sweeping bay views, while unhoused individuals sleep outside those same buildings, separated not by miles, but by floors. And the question that lingers is not why this is happening, the causes are many, but how a city famed for shaping the future can simultaneously overlook the present suffering at its feet. People living outside are not invisible, society has simply learned to look past them. How did a city celebrated for its progress become a place where progress and survival exist side by side without ever touching? If you've ever witnessed or experienced homelessness, your insight is welcome in the comments. The scale of crisis, understanding the numbers behind every face. San Francisco's homelessness crisis is not anecdotal. It is measurable, documented, and persistent. As of 2026, over 7,500 people are estimated to be unhoused on any given night, but this number does not reflect the entire crisis. Thousands more move in and out of temporary housing, shelters, or informal arrangements throughout the year. These individuals are part of a hidden population who avoid counting events because they sleep in vehicles, stay with friends, or move frequently to remain unseen. The crisis is not limited to one demographic. It includes working adults who cannot afford rent, seniors whose fixed income no longer covers housing, young adults exiting foster care, and families displaced by rising costs. But behind each category is a human story. A man who worked in construction until an injury. A mother priced out after a rent spike. A teenager who aged out of a system that never fully supported them. The scale also includes the institutional strain. Shelters reach capacity faster each year. Outreach teams face increasing caseloads. Healthcare providers see rising medical issues linked to living outdoors, wound infections, untreated diabetes, respiratory problems, and chronic pain from years of sleeping on hard surfaces. Fall highlights these pressures even more. Nights become longer, illnesses spread more easily, and the city sees a rise in emergency room visits from people living outside. San Francisco's public services are expansive compared to many U.S. cities, yet they remain insufficient for the scale of need. Government reports often present homelessness as a complex, multifactorial challenge, which it is. But the individuals experiencing it don't describe it in policy terms. For them, it is immediate. It is personal. And it is overwhelmingly difficult to navigate. This chapter reveals that the crisis is not defined solely by those living in tents or on sidewalks. It is defined by the many who are one missed paycheck or one emergency away from joining them. The scale is frightening not because of its size, but because of how many people are so close to falling into it. If the data shows how many people are slipping through the cracks, why do the cracks keep widening? If you've ever witnessed or experienced homelessness, your insight is welcome in the comments. The slow descent, how stable lives collapse into homelessness. Homelessness rarely begins with dramatic events. Instead, it forms through small fractures in stability that expand quietly over time. A person may have a job, an apartment, and a routine, but an unexpected change, A medical emergency, a car repair, a lost work shift begins to knock other pieces out of place. In one story, a single rent increase becomes the tipping point. In another, the illness of a family member drains savings. Someone else may lose housing after a breakup or after helping a relative with expenses. Many who fall into homelessness once believed it could never happen to them. Structural factors amplify these vulnerabilities. High rents mean that even minor disruptions can throw an entire household off balance. A person living paycheck to paycheck has no buffer for emergencies. When the rent becomes due and there are no savings left, eviction becomes a real possibility. Once an individual loses their home, finding another becomes exponentially harder. Landlords require income proof, references, credit, and security deposits, things that begin slipping away as soon as homelessness sets in. Addiction or mental health challenges, while often highlighted in public narratives, are frequently consequences rather than causes. The stress of constant instability can lead someone to self-medicate. The trauma of living outside deepens anxiety, depression, and PTSD. People begin to lose the documents, routines, and support systems needed to regain footing. The descent is gradual, unremarkable, and profoundly human. It is not defined by irresponsibility, it is defined by the absence of a safety net. Many people on the street once had stable lives. Some still work part-time jobs. Others are former caregivers, veterans, students, or parents. Homelessness is not a single moment. It is a series of smaller moments that accumulate until stability disappears. If lives unravel slowly, why do our systems respond only after everything has already collapsed? Housing unaffordable, when the cost of staying indoors outruns ordinary life. San Francisco's housing market is one of the most expensive in the world. Even with inflation stabilizing nationally, local rents continue to climb, driven by competition, limited supply, and years of slow construction. A single-bedroom apartment can cost more than many full-time workers earn in a month. Families who once lived comfortably suddenly find themselves paying over half their income on rent, leaving little for food, transportation, or emergencies. Affordable housing projects exist, but demand far exceeds supply. People wait months, sometimes years, for placement. Meanwhile, individuals experiencing homelessness often struggle to meet eligibility requirements because they lack stable documentation, medical histories, or consistent contact information. The mismatch between housing availability and need is one of the central forces driving the crisis. Even well-intentioned policies often struggle to make meaningful change because construction timelines are too long, zoning restrictions slow progress, and funding cycles are inconsistent. Housing assistance programs help some residents, but many fall through the gaps. While the public debates policy solutions, individuals continue living outdoors because they cannot wait for plans that take years to unfold. The housing crisis is not abstract, it has direct consequences. Crowded shelters, rising evictions, people sleeping in cars, and entire communities displaced. The question is not why people cannot afford San Francisco housing. The numbers answer that clearly. The question is how long a city can sustain such extremes before the social cost outweighs the economic advantages. If housing is the solution, why does the path to stable shelter remain so distant? Shelters under pressure, a safety net too small for a growing crisis. Shelters are the first line of support for individuals who lose housing, but in San Francisco, demand outpaces availability daily. Lines form early, beds fill quickly. Many people are turned away simply because there is no more space. Some shelters have strict rules, curfews, limits on belongings, shared sleeping areas that can make them feel overwhelming or unsafe for those with trauma or anxiety. Even when shelters function well, they are temporary solutions designed for short-term stays. They cannot provide the stability needed for someone to rebuild their life. People move in and out frequently. unable to find long-term housing, and the cycle repeats. The pressure intensifies in fall. Nights grow colder. More individuals seek shelter. Staff become overwhelmed managing rising medical needs, mental health crises, and conflicts triggered by overcrowding. The system tries, but it was never designed for crisis at this scale. Those who cannot access shelters must sleep on sidewalks, in doorways, or in public parks. Some choose the streets because they feel safer than tightly packed rooms. Others avoid shelters due to past negative experiences. The result is a patchwork safety net filled with holes. Support exists, but it does not reach everyone equally. The shelter system reflects the city's larger challenge, a humanitarian crisis addressed with emergency tools instead of long-term solutions. If shelters cannot catch everyone, who carries the responsibility for those left outside? Living day to day, surviving without stability or rest. Life on the street forces people into routines centered entirely around survival. A person's day becomes a series of tasks: finding food, locating clean water, securing a safe resting place, managing belongings, staying alert, and planning where to be at night. Unlike housed individuals, who have time to reflect or set goals, unhoused individuals make decisions hour by hour. Public space becomes a version of home: bus stops for shelter, libraries for quiet, sidewalks for rest. A simple act like charging a phone becomes a strategic mission. Belongings must be carried everywhere to avoid theft or confiscation. Hygiene becomes a challenge without restrooms or showers. And the lack of rest compounds mental and physical strain. Fall makes this more difficult. Shorter days mean less time to access services. Longer nights require more endurance. People report feeling isolation deepen in the fall months as the city grows busier and colder simultaneously. For many, the hardest part of homelessness is not hunger or exposure, it is the psychological toll. Being constantly visible yet socially invisible erodes confidence. Public judgment becomes daily background noise, and the absence of privacy reshapes how people view themselves. Street survival is not chaos, it is an exhausting form of work. How does someone rebuild a future when every day is consumed by surviving the present? Health unseen. The silent toll of living outdoors. The health toll of homelessness is severe. Without consistent medical care, minor issues become emergencies. Wounds get infected. Chronic conditions worsen. People living outside develop respiratory illnesses, dental problems, dehydration, and untreated pain. Mental health conditions deepen due to stress, trauma, and lack of rest. Fall brings a rise in health crises. Medical teams report increasing cases of chronic cough, infections, and untreated injuries. People who already struggle with mobility find it harder to navigate the city. Many unhoused individuals age rapidly because their bodies endure daily physical strain. Untreated trauma is one of the least visible yet most damaging aspects of homelessness. Individuals experience violence, theft, and constant uncertainty, events that compound emotional distress. Without therapy or stable support, trauma cycles repeat, worsening mental health and making recovery harder. For seniors living outside, the risks are especially high. Many cannot access the medical care they need, and navigating shelters or city services becomes physically difficult. Younger individuals face long-term consequences. The emotional and physical scars can shape their lives for decades. Healthcare providers who work with unhoused populations describe the same pattern year after year. The body cannot remain in survival mode indefinitely. If health fails first, how can recovery ever begin without a safe place to heal? The helpers, community efforts, and acts of quiet dignity. Despite the scale of the crisis, San Francisco's community response remains one of the city's strongest forces. Volunteers distribute food daily. Nonprofit organizations provide clothing, medical care, hygiene kits, and emotional support. Outreach teams build trust with people who avoid shelters and help connect them to services. Librarians offer warmth and quiet. Faith groups distribute blankets and meals without judgment. These acts do not solve homelessness, but they fill the gaps left by systems that move too slowly. For many people living outside, these small interactions provide something rare: recognition. Being called by name, being asked how they are, or being offered a meal without conditions restores a sense of humanity that the streets often erode. Fall increases the need for community efforts. More people require warm clothing. More people seek help. And more people become dependent on the reliability of outreach teams. The relationships built through these interactions can lead to vital services, medical treatment, shelter placements, or long-term support. Community groups often operate with limited resources, yet they continue to show up because they understand something essential. Homelessness is not just a lack of housing, it is a loss of connection. Restoring connection is the first step toward restoring stability. If community groups can provide dignity consistently, why does the broader system struggle to do the same? The unanswered question: what does this crisis reveal about us? As fall deepens in San Francisco, the city moves forward, launching new products, opening new offices, hosting conferences, and shaping the digital future. Yet thousands of people remain outside its protections, sleeping on sidewalks, resting in doorways, or waiting in lines for shelter beds. This documentary does not end with a solution, because for those living this reality, the crisis does not end at all. The homelessness crisis is not just a policy issue, it is a reflection of values. It raises questions about what society prioritizes, who receives protection, and why some people become invisible despite living in plain sight. A city celebrated for progress struggles to care for those left behind. A city known for creativity struggles to solve a humanitarian emergency happening at its feet. Homelessness in San Francisco is not one story, it is thousands. It is a reminder that stability is fragile, that wealth does not equal well-being, and that a society's strength is measured not by its tallest buildings, but by how it treats those who have the least. This crisis forces a final question. If a place built on innovation and opportunity cannot protect people from sleeping on concrete, what does that say about the future we are building, and who we expect to belong in it? If survival on the sidewalk has become normal in one of the richest cities in the world, what does that say about us? Not about the unhoused, but about the society surrounding them. Thanks for watching. In the next videos, we'll take you to another city with an even more shocking story, so make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon